Yes, we did it. Okay. I feel like that never goes smoothly. So, welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Wisdom and Woo. And I'm super excited today to have my beautiful friend, Candy, my all not all Aries, my Aries friend. She got a lot of planets in Aries. But yeah, I want to introduce everyone to Candy. I'm gonna read this information that she gave to me to share about herself, just so you
Okay.
know all the goodness that is Candy. Um, Candy has been a Charlotte resident for almost 20 years, which means she got here when she was like 5. She has a BSA in project management and works in finance as a redemption program financial analyst. She's a member of several service-based committees and organizations created to empower women and or better the community through program and volunteer initiatives. On any given weekend, you might find her exploring one of the Charlotte food truck lots. That's true. Enjoying local restaurants or bars with her family and friends, me being one of them, or strolling the aisle of the farmer's market looking for anything from fresh spinach to the next addition to her vinyl record collection, which we're going to have to talk about. I didn't know anything about that. To all the things magical, which hello, now you know why we're friends. A few of her favorite things are traveling, nail design, real crime TV, Shonda Rhimes TV, of course, Shondaland, the many beautiful hues of the color blue,
Mhm.
ancestors, crystals, candles, hoodoo, living, learning, and loving. Well, welcome, Candy, and thank you for sharing that booty mug that you got right there. Oh my
It's
God,
my
I love that little
favorite
booty
tea
mug.
mug.
Oh
Yes,
my
it's my
gosh. We're going
girl.
to have to talk about where I can get one of those.
I'll
I love
let you
it.
know. Yep.
I love it. So tell us about you, Candy. I mean, I just mentioned a whole bunch of stuff about you, but what's
Yeah.
something that wasn't really encapsulated in that little intro?
Yeah. So that was my long elevator speech that you just read through. Hopefully, we're going to the 25th floor and we have time to say
That's
all
right.
the
That's
things.
right. Listen,
But yes,
go right
I'm
to the penthouse.
right. Right. Exactly. My name is Candy. For those who don't know, it's been said enough times here. Candence is my government born a name, but everybody who knows me, who I have a personal relationship, calls me Candy. So that's what I go by. I've been Candy since I could remember. Uh,
Hmm.
again, Charlotte has been my home for 20 years. So I do feel like it is home. It
Yeah.
definitely feels like home to me.
I
Came here,
claimed it when I moved here too. I
yeah,
claimed it.
like it just feels like it's the spot. It's my spot. Um,
Yeah.
moved here from Michigan, from Detroit. Worked in the automotive industry there and transferred down, and I've been here ever since. So
I love it. Oh my gosh.
happy to be
And
here.
she's one of the few people that actually live near me. So
Yeah,
that's always a plus because in Charlotte, people are kind of spread out and they don't like to travel too far.
right.
So it's nice that Candy's like, I don't know if I'm sure I can get to your house in less than 10 minutes.
We right up the street, right up the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
A country mile for those who understand that.
For all the Southerners out there, they understand what that is too.
Exactly.
I want to, yes, I want to make sure everything is happening. Let's see. Yep, I see us there.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think about when I think about Aries, because we are about to have this new moon in Aries tomorrow. Actually, what time is it? Actually, in about 10 hours from now
Okay.
is the new moon in Aries. And, you know, it's really the beginning. It's the beginning of the astrological new year, right? So all of the energy starts again because Aries is the first sign. And
Mhm.
so when you think about the first sign, and you think about the first of anything, when I think about the signs, I do kind of think of them in terms of like phases of life, right? I talk a lot about cycles and, where things are within a cycle. And so if you think about Aries, and I have two Aries grandbabies, as a matter of fact. as the first, there tends to be this from the outside, there's this idea of self-centeredness, of selfishness,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, Aries is here to teach us that we do need to focus on ourselves. We do need to look at ourselves first
Right.
before we can worry about anything else. But when you're not an Aries, it just is like, oh, that chick, right?
Right.
So, but it's also about, Aries energy. It's fire energy. It's a cardinal sign, meaning it's the ones who initiate things. They get things started, right? So it's the cardinal fire sign. Um, if you think about springtime, right? Spring is again the beginning of this growth cycle. Um, and I feel like one of my personal heroes is an Aries Gloria Steinem, and you think about like just moving forward and seeing an issue and feeling like you have to be like the advocate, the warrior for whatever it is that you are passionate about. And as a fire sign, you're likely passionate about a lot of things, right?
A
Especially if
lot,
you have a
a
lot of
lot.
fire in your chart.
Right.
Um, and the interesting thing to me, I think, always with Aries is that though they will, I'm not gonna say can be aggressive, but they can be very adamant about again what they're passionate about, but they also let shit go real easy, right?
Facts.
Once it's like I've said what I said, you know why I feel like I feel, and now let's keep it moving.
All the way.
So I was
Yeah.
gonna say, so of those things, tell me how that feels or what I might be missing there,
Um,
to think about this Aries energy that we're already in, but as we think about this new moon coming.
mhm. Yeah, so Aries, everything you said, I definitely resonates with me for sure. Um,
Mhm.
Aries being the first astrological sign, for the year, the beginning. I think a lot of times the energy that I have felt in life and what typically comes with it is you feel a lot of beginnings, new beginnings, like that. Operating in those new beginnings just feels authentically, just feels good,
Mhm. Right.
starting things. That's why Aries, we like projects, new
Mhm.
projects, those kind of things. It just feels good to us to just start some stuff,
Right.
let's get this thing moving. Um, so yeah, and I think of springtime. I just talked to my cousin about the energy of the new moon energy, how it relates to like spring for this time of year. You look outside and you see all of the trees are starting to bud, and your roses, your rose bushes, all of those things. And so for me, it just signifies a birthing, a rebirth.
Mhm.
Everything is coming to life, and
Yeah, I love that.
everything that was dormant is kind of you know, it's vibrant. The colors are so beautiful. And, I just think about all of those things and I relate that to that Aries energy. And so
Mhm.
across life in general, but, I can see it in my job and, with the wife and the kids and, all of the
Mhm.
things that just it for me, because I do have so many things, so many houses in Aries, it's just
Mhm.
everywhere for me. Um,
I
and
know I
then
just thought about that. Wait, let me keep talking. I'm like, "Oh,
okay,
I'm not gonna put it up on the screen because
okay,
I can't white out your, birthday, but I'm gonna l pull up your chart. I
that's
have it
a
on my
hidden
phone
secret.
and
You
look
need
at I won't
military
share it.
clearance for that secret.
Right, right. She's like, can you just delete that off your phone?" I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that, but I promise not to share it." So go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, so and I think too, when people think of, even like Easter in the Christian faith, all of the things that you think about that come in the springtime, little
Mhm.
bunnies and eggs and the beginning, the start of
Mhm.
something. And so a lot of times you can look at that as being the baby or the new, but
Mhm.
it's not so much an immaturity, but it's the newness of things, the potential of it. That's the way I look at it. Um,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know, from this point where we are, this new moon in Aries, everything is possible. Anything is
Right.
possible, because it's the
Yeah.
beginning of it. You can start from here. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I
Yeah,
kind of,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jazzy. Yeah, I just, yeah, spring, new beginnings. That is Aries energy for me. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And now, I mean, I have to say, because we are going to talk about the new moon piece of this and what that means as well. But um, one thing I did want to mention is, everything, like anything, everything has its darker side, right? It's challenges. And I think that for Aries, and again, you give me your input on this, sometimes it might be difficult to know when to stop, right? Because there's so much fire, there's so much like, ooh, what's this, what can I
Yes.
be doing,
Yes.
that sometimes it's hard to know when to stop. Sometimes you keep going until like you literally can't anymore. And not because you choose it, but
Mm-hmm.
because your body's like, sit down,
Right.
right?
Somewhere.
Or your mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Facts.
And
Yeah.
so not being able to do that. And I think also the idea of because Aries is very, individual, thinking about the self, right? It can be difficult um, to collaborate with other people
Mhm,
in a meaningful way, right?
mhm,
So, like, I know you do tons of stuff together with people,
mhm.
but if it's a passion of yours, do you find it difficult to bring other people in?
I'm gonna tell you as a general, mm, characteristic, if you will,
Hmm. Hmm.
Aries, we get shit done, period. Like, and, whatever's in the way of that, um,
Hmm.
we're just not gonna tolerate it, and that oftentimes comes off as, "I'll just do it myself."
Right.
And so, to your point, that makes for a lot of opportunity to just be keep on just moving, moving, moving. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, because can't anybody do it better than me, you know?
Wait,
I can
I'm
do
going to pop up a comment from somebody you might know.
it. Okay.
Bossy. I don't know about bossy. There's a Dawn Neverson who
Oh,
claims some bossiness. I don't know about that though.
bossy
I mean, it
strong.
can, but it can feel like that, right? I'm sure, again, when you're not an Aries and you're not in that energy,
When
it
you're a
can
Leo,
feel,
you feel very bossy.
well, when you're the next fire sign, yeah, right?
Right. Exactly.
Um, because same thing, and we'll talk about this, maybe Dawn would like to join me for the Leo conversation in a few months, but same thing, right? It's fire energy, but it's different, right?
Yeah.
It's movement, but that the idea of learning about your identity, right? Learning about yourself, focusing on what your needs are for action,
Mhm.
transitions into Leo's fire, which is more still about self, but now about me in the world, right?
Right.
How do
Right.
I think about myself with others, right? And
Mm,
my impact with others. So
right.
even with fire signs, with any of the signs, it's more than one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
A word you
Uh,
used earlier on was aggressive. And
mhm,
we are often looked at as being very aggressive, very
mhm,
in your face, And I think that I have liked to substitute that word for confident.
mhm, yeah,
And it's not so much that I know I'm the only one who can do something or say something or be in a space or have this energy about me. It's that I know that I can. I'm not the only
right,
one, but I can.
right,
Yeah, I
right.
can show up here and do all the things.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it's, so many of us, especially those who identify as women, we take on everything because we can,
Mhm.
even if we don't need to, and that definitely for an Aries, you see it in Capricorns are very much that way too, like my rising sign is in Capricorn. And it's not for selfish reasons, it's just, yeah, I know who I am, I know what I can do, so why not just do
Right.
it, right?
Why
There's
not?
nothing wrong with that.
And you're
Right.
probably gonna take way too long, to get it done. So, let me just go ahead and do this thing, and I know it's done right, and I know it's done within the time that I want it done. So
Right, right. Yeah. And again, from the outside, I mean, I'm a Cancer. I have 5 planets in Cancer. And Cancer
mhm,
again is the water cardinal sign. So again, getting things started, but from an emotional perspective, right?
mhm,
And we want to talk about how we feel about things. You want to just do shit. And I'm like, but wait, let's feel into this for a minute. Maybe we need to cry about this. Maybe we need to, you know, so
no,
and
no,
anybody
no,
who
no.
watches me knows, like, crying is, like, top of the list for me.
Yeah,
And in
yeah,
fairness, I will say for Aries that, that is the idea of crying, right? Or allowing yourself that release of
mm,
crying,
mhm,
is often kind of the prescription, right? For Aries folks, for fire folks who can't seem to slow down, who can't get
mhm,
out of their own way sometimes, is to allow that emotion,
mhm.
that stops you, allow that to come in and spend some time with it. So just a little side note for any Aries out there who don't know how to, stop.
How to stop, yeah, and I think I do see a lot of for me, my personal experience is that
Mhm,
the emotional aspect of it, because 'cause I'm a very emotional person,
mhm,
but along with this Aries energy of wanting to present as the leader, the confident person, and all those things,
mhm.
I keep that in my private places. My
Yeah,
emotions. I don't usually present to the world with being, emotional about a thing. No, I'm here to
right.
get the job done. And I've
Right.
already cried about it. I've already, you know,
In
told,
private.
in the back room, but now when you see me, I'm ready to work. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, all right. So now that we kind of get a grasp of what this energy is that we're in. So again, we've been in Aries season, right, for a little while now.
Uh,
And we're here till for another 20 days, 21 days.
yeah.
Um, but with this new moon, so the new moons, people talk a lot about the full moons. I think the new moons, don't get nearly enough attention.
Nearly.
Full moon is like the height of energy, right? It's when everything's coming to a head and things have bubbled to the top, but that's the time that we need to let shit go, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yes.
yes, I'm all about burning shit, letting it go, crying it out, all of that.
Yep.
But the new moon is that dark time, right? The new moon is when the sun and the moon are together so that you don't see the moon in the sky. It's the dark moon. And it's
Right.
the time that we need to go in, right? It's the time that we need to think about, okay, it's quiet, it's dark. How do I need to plan, right,
Mm,
for that build, right? This is the
mhm.
time that we set our intentions.
Right.
And especially now, right? Again, this is the new astrological year, this new energy. We both mentioned that kind of springtime energy, right? So
Yep.
now is when we need to sit down and say, what do I need to plant? What are my intentions for, the next 2 weeks, the next 2 months, the next 2 years,
Right.
right? What do I really need to be thinking about and moving towards? This isn't the time for action. So even though Aries is all about doing, 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 this is a time that you got to step back and
Mhm.
say, yes, I know I'm focused on doing, but I got to plan for it now. Right.
Facts. Yes.
So when you put those two things together, again, think about the actions that you want to be taking, the things that you want to be doing, But really sit down more than ever for this new moon is to really write down things, right? Don't just think about it and talk about like, oh, I really would like to do. No, give yourself space to sit down, write down different parts of your life, right? What do I want to do and for me, right? For my growth, for my spiritual growth, for my health, for my
Mhm.
whatever it is within yourself that you want to be growing, start there and
Right.
then think about, well, what about, work or passions? What about relationships, right? All the things that you want to take some actions on. This is the time to start sitting down realistically and just planning for that, right? Without the flashy lights of the full moon, without the energy,
Mhm.
just allowing yourself the space for that, right? And so I don't know, Candy, do you normally do any kind of ritual or journaling or anything around the newer full moons?
So around the new moons, especially um, March, this season, my birthday season, I definitely take a moment to write down, as you say, set my intentions, write down what I'm looking to accomplish, what I want my world to look like, what I want my relationships to look like, what shoes I want, whatever it is, I write my list.
Mhm.
And this year, I also took the time to burn um, ritual, to burn
Mhm.
some things that I did not want to bring into this new year.
Okay,
These
good.
So that was for me. It was just that added piece that I wanted
Mhm.
to, take that extra step of
Yeah,
wanting to sit with my intentions that I was setting. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. And so
right.
I also did some burning. So
Oh,
it was
good. Yeah, listen, I'm a
good.
big advocate for burning shit, so,
Yes, yes.
I love
Yeah,
that.
me too. It was good.
Um, yeah, yeah, and you do, and again, that's, the everything has 2 sides, right? You have to be able to release things to
Yeah,
make room for what's coming, you
facts.
know?
Yes.
And I think that we often miss out on one or the other, right? And it's easy to especially with everything that's been going on and the last 2 years of COVID and,
Yes.
just everything. I mean, you can't turn the TV on and not just feel overwhelmed by everything, and it's easy to get caught up in all the things that we don't want, right? Being that ends up being our only focus,
Right.
and we can get real clear about what we don't want, but
Mhm.
when you're just focused on what you don't want, then that's just what you're focused on,
Right. Right.
right? So giving space, so yeah, I love that. I mean, and especially if, I mean, it's never too late, but especially that last full moon in Pisces that we had 2 weeks ago, like,
Mhm.
that was the release moon, right? That was the moon where it's like the end of this cycle, the end of all this stuff. We learned a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and now we can let things go, but yeah, I mean, anytime you feel overwhelmed, burn that shit away.
Burn it, burn it, burn it. And then that moon in Pisces, it felt um I think it feels heavy. It's a heaviness to it. Kind of
Yeah.
generally speaking. Would you
Well,
agree?
I think, part of that is I think yes, because of a couple things, especially for Aries, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So Pisces energy is it's like the most mature, if you will,
Mhm.
water sign, right? It's the last sign, so it's got all the lessons that we learned before
Yeah.
within, but
Yeah.
it's so evolved that it's not even like here. It's not even like of this earth. It's almost just spiritual, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
it's like Pisces folks in general have a hard time staying grounded because their minds are like so far beyond, like their spirit is just always reaching out to something more.
Yeah.
And for the action folks, right, who want to like put your hands in the dirt and do stuff,
Mhm.
that can be really difficult to wrap your mind around. Like,
Right.
why are
Yeah.
you over here woo woo wandering when we're trying to
Right.
get things
Right.
done, right?
We got
Yeah,
shit
and
to do. Yeah.
right. So that full moon, again, that height of the of energy of Pisces, of just dreaming is
Yeah.
like, what are we doing?
Right. Right. Reel this
Right?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will say for I think for most water folks, it feels overwhelming because we feel all of that emotion kind of coming to a head.
Mhm.
Um, but yes, Pisces energy, again, for I think a lot of people who are not Pisces specifically, can be hard to really put your arms around. But it also feels good if you can lean into it, right? It feels powerful.
Okay.
But if you
Mhm.
can lean into what about it is
Mhm.
agitating you, right?
Got
Because
Yeah,
that agitation is the thing that you need to know about, the thing
understood.
that's gonna help you grow.
Understood.
So, and again, the flip to this is, the Pisces folks now in this, Aries energy is like, why do we have to be moving and doing stuff all the
Right,
time?
right.
Right?
I was dreaming. I'm dreaming.
Right.
I'm
Right.
California dreaming, like, what is going
Right.
on? Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I pulled a card. So you're gonna see the card, not me, in just a second. So let me
okay.
switch it over. And
Mm,
I'd love for you. Oh, let me take my name off of here. Give me a second. Oh, it wants to be weird today. Well, you can see the top of it at least. I don't know why
mhm.
it's so
Yeah.
glitchy today. Where's my name thing? But tell me what you notice about this card besides my glitching camera.
First thing I noticed was what we would call today, what they have taught us women in the workplace is the power stance.
Mhm.
Um, they say if you go into the boardroom for a meeting, that you should take that stance before you go in because it empowers you,
Mm.
makes you feel empowered.
Mhm.
So that was the first thing that I noticed.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
You're killing me right now, camera. What are you doing?
I see
Wait, let
you
me
glitch,
see.
but it's okay.
Hang on.
It's okay.
Let
I'll
me
keep
put it
going.
here if that no, it's still glitchy over there too.
Okay.
Um it just wants to be weird. All right. I'll leave it just for a second, let you finish.
Yeah, it's okay. So that was my first thing. Um, the second thing being the looking off into what we would say, looking off
Mhm.
into the distance. Um, some might feel that this person is maybe looking for something. I
Mhm.
see it as surveying what's available to me.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
way I look at it.
Oh my
You
god,
know,
it's giving me a headache. Sorry. You gotta look at me. I'm sorry. It's
I got the mental picture of what it was. So 7 to
I'll
1.
hold it here while we
There
talk.
you go. Boom. We're working it out. But yeah,
Right.
so and then that foot up on the wood, there. Yep, perfect. Um, it's a power stance. It's just saying, I this is my land. I'm in
Mhm.
control. I am moving. I'm ready to take on whatever's out there. Um, I'm surveying all that is available to me and I'm ready for
Mhm.
it. So
Yeah.
that's the feeling that I have behind it.
Yeah, and I mean, so this is the 7 of Wands, and Wands is, our action suit, right? So Aries energy, it is our action suit.
Yep.
Um, and sevens they are about everything you said. They're about reflection, they're
Mhm.
about assessment.
Yep.
Um, and as we again think about new moon in Aries as
Mhm.
we're planning. I mean, this is the card, right? This is a card of intentionally assessing where you want to go, right? The actions that you want to take,
Yes.
giving yourself the space for that, right? And just like, look how good that feels,
I know.
right?
It sounds
I
so good.
mean, it doesn't feel pressured. It doesn't feel anxious. It doesn't feel like it needs to be hurried, right? It's
Mhm.
just I'm doing it. Like, I know I'm gonna do something with these sticks,
Yeah,
Let
and look at all the
me
clouds in the sky. It's a great day.
Yeah,
Cumulus
big
cloud.
fluffy
Yeah,
yeah, you know?
4
And it
degrees.
and it it does, it and this is exactly, and I'm make sure that we put a picture up, but that's exactly what I want everyone to think about, um, as they're taking some time here with this, with this new moon because it's so important to give yourself the space, right? We wanted to start taking actions like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the spring. We want to start moving. I want to, but think about it, right? Are you going to like plant a bunch of random seeds at a garden and hope for the best, or are you going to think about, I want to put the vegetables here. I want to. I don't garden, so I'm just making these
Right,
things
no,
up. That I'm
basic.
assuming that
Right,
gardeners, we can
that
ask
it
my friend Jocelyn, who's always in the garden. Like, I'm assuming there's a plan, right? That you
don't
need
just
to
go out there and
really
throw it out there.
right,
Right.
yeah, and so that's it. That's really what I want folks to think about. The next again tomorrow, actually about 2 in the morning Eastern time is the new moon
Mhm.
happening, and then you got a good 3 days either side, right, of the new and the full moons of that energy. I
Yeah,
mean, you can do it anytime, but this you're going to get a lot of help. You're going to get a nice little boost of help with this new moon in Aries right now. So, I would love for folks to share with us when you do this, when you write things down, just come back and pop it in the chat, right? Or send a message or ask questions about, this beautiful Aries energy that Candy has, so eloquently shared, what that really feels like. And allow yourself, if you're not an Aries, if you're not a fire sign, allow yourself the space to think about action, right?
mhm,
If you are, again, someone like me who is more on the emotional end, the action part is harder, right? If
sure.
you are an air sign and got a lot of air in your chart, you want to
Mhm.
think things through, but it's sometimes hard to take action, right? So think about the actual actions that need to start happening and how you can start planning for them. So I think that's it. I think we covered it. I think
Yeah,
people are in a good space. There's also, I posted yesterday. There's also, if you check on any of the social pages, there's a link. There's a post that's got some things to think about for setting intentions with Aries, and then there's actually a link there. So there's a whole little like couple of pages of things that you can do as well to get ready for the new moon. So make sure to check that out. So anything else you can think of, Candy? Any last words? Anything that you'd like before we head out?
I wanna, first thank you for having me
Thank
here.
thank you
Um,
for coming.
yeah, and, just the energy, the Aries, like, it has just, it's so true to who I am. Like,
Yeah.
it's in my core. I am
Mhm.
an Aries, so I can understand how that energy can sometimes be very overwhelming,
Mhm.
but the tools that you are giving, taking a moment to write things down and, um,
Mhm.
be still and, appreciate the emotions behind what you're feeling. All of those things, very crucial, and they have helped
Mhm.
to be better at being an Aries, you know, be
Yeah.
better in this space. So I appreciate you giving those tools for sure. Those are
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
things.
And
Definitely.
thank you, Janelle, for popping in that little printable guide is right in the chat too. So you can just click the link in the chat as well anytime you want. So thank you so much, my Aries friend. You were literally the first person at all that popped into my head when I thought about Aries. So I was like, we gotta get her in here. So we'll be back in 2 weeks for the Libra full moon. I'm gonna see if I can get my daughter to come in.
Oh, I want need to be there for that.
Yeah, I always joke I have 2 daughters, one that, cries with me and one who doesn't,
Right.
period.
Period.
She
Period.
she's the Sagittarius energy,
No,
like,
they're not
"Mm,
crying. Mm-mm.
nothing." So, all right, so we will see you back in 2 weeks. Candy, thank you again so
Thank
much for
you.
joining me. I really
We
appreciate
see you
you,
on the
and,
stage.
stay magical, y'all.
All right. See ya.